How do you manage the demands of multiple properties across different cities and areas?
I think the key to any kind of management is to making sure you have a quality team. Even a fairly good sized portfolio is hard to manage if you're trying to do everything on your own.
How do you make sure that operations is achieving the results that the tenants need, but also being cost effective too?
I think the main thing is to operationally, you want to make sure that you have a good business case for what you're proposing. We want to save energy, save costs. That all gets passed down to the tenants. The balance is trying to make sure we're doing that without sacrificing tenant comfort, their use of the space. It's not just a like for like all the time, but you don't want to break the bank and propose a $1 million system that just because it's the newest technology doesn't mean it's the best move forward. So
welcome to the Mastering Property Management Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Sarbit. Join me as we delve into candid conversations with industry experts to uncover their strategies and insights for achieving success in property management. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, let's elevate your property management skills together. Hi, everybody. I'm Jared Sarbit, and this is Mastering Property Management. Today, I have the honor and privilege of having Ryan Giesbrecht, the Regional Operational Manager for GWL Realty Advisors on. Ryan, so good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. Ryan, tell me a little bit about GWL Realty Advisors. Who are they?
So GWL Realty Advisors is a national property management company. The philosophy is to have regional expertise. So we have offices in all the major cities, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and we have properties in Halifax. About just over 16 billion in assets under management, 18 million square feet in office, commercial office, 17 million square feet in industrial, 4 million in retail. And then we also have about over 10,000 units of residential in our residential branch. So
awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, very good. And tell me a little bit about yourself. So what got you into operations in the first place? What are some of the major milestones along the way throughout your career? And how did you reach your current level of success as the regional manager?
So I think a big constant in property management is no one really knows about the industry. So like many others, I kind of fell into it. I came out of BCIT with my 4th class power engineering certificate and ended up in the Parks Board, the Vancouver Parks Board, actually, little piece of Canadiana, driving Zamboni, looking after the ammonia plant, making ice. And as a casual employee, another casual was doing temp work for a company called Commercial Real Estate Services. And his boss was looking for extra guys. So word got to me and I went in and had an interview and toured a site and got a job. And then I had 2 placements. Both were with GWL Realty Advisors. One was a vacation relief for 5 weeks. Had a great opportunity in a beautiful A building. It was 400 Burrard downtown. Worked with a great group there, and then got moved to 1188 West Georgia, which was just a vacant position, a long-term vacant position. And they moved the fellow who was temping there. They moved him to a permanent site. So I got that job there, and I would say I started there mid-March of 2004. And by August, they offered me a position. And so gladly kind of jumped on that because I could see what a good company GWL was. So yeah, just kind of fell into it and it turned out great for me. And then yeah, throughout the years, just sort of I've been very, very fortunate to have great mentors, great leadership, people who put their faith and trust in me to kind of to move forward with my career. So the person who hired me and first offered me the work, he had moved on. And so from temp to building operator, when he moved on, I got promoted to senior building operator. And then shortly after that, got promoted to operations supervisor and started getting more responsibility. So 2 more buildings. At the time, we had the Ritchie Brothers Global Head Office in Burnaby, and then also the Pacific Blue Cross building, also in Burnaby. So then taking on a bit of a management role. I was already overseeing an operator who was working with me, and then but being able to expand that responsibility and kind of grow. And then in 2016, took a operations manager role in Burnaby. And then that eventually led to the regional operations manager position that I currently fill. So lots of growth opportunities. So it was fantastic.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So now what does your region include exactly? What territories do you oversee? All of BC.
BC in general. However, we don't really have anything outside of, we got some properties in Kelowna, and then we have some stuff on the island, Vancouver Island. So Victoria and Nanaimo. Most of it's Lower Mainland.
Okay, gotcha. What a remarkable achievement to be with GWL for over 20 years. That's not common in today's day and age. So, what has kept you so engaged with GWL and motivated, to stay with the company and the industry for so long?
I think everybody can kind of relate to the fact that every day is something different. It's a different challenge. Yeah. But in general, it kind of goes back to that support and encouragement from the company to sort of move forward with your career and present, when you're presented with opportunities, just kind of, scared or not, taking advantage of them. And so I'm not blind to the fact that I've been very blessed with the leadership and the team that I've had surrounding me this entire time. It's not, it could have gone very differently, but I've been very fortunate. So
that's amazing. Really cool. And tell me about your key characteristics, you've committed to them for 20 years, but they've also committed to you to 20 years and have invested in you and obviously seen you kind of, rise up the ranks. What are those key character qualities that Ryan Giesbrecht holds that makes, you successful and to get you to the place you are today?
I'm starting to think more along the lines of, I think there's some empathy there where I'm able to kind of relate to the team in general. I feel like there's a connection with not just the staff that report to me, but other staff who see and can relate. And I have been approached by a number of employees who see that it was that rise. It's that rise from temp a lot of our staff start off as temps as well. It's a key way to enter this industry. So they see that and are able to relate to someone who started in the same place they did and see the potential of where they could end up. So, so there's been, lots of conversations over coffee or little kind of mentorship moments of being able to chat with these guys and kind of, again, not everyone's path is going to be different. Opportunities aren't going to present themselves with the same timing, but, best I can do is kind of, give them some insight of what helped me along my way. So
I imagine that's super motivating for new temps that aspire for bigger things. You're such an asset to the company to be able to speak to them and show them that it's possible. So that's really cool. Very nice. Looking back on your journey, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in property management and operations over the last 2 decades?
So in operations, certainly the biggest change I'd say is that move away from hands-on repair and work on building equipment to service contracts.
Mm.
Um, Definitely, I should qualify that with saying certainly the larger companies have done that. Now, I think there's still a lot of companies out there that would love to have a hands-on guy and do a lot of in-house work. We are owned by an insurance company. We do like to bring in service contracts when possible. So definitely that would be the biggest change. And then I think also just that the pace of technology, advancements in technology are huge. So, I think back to the original BC Hydro Power Smart programs of switching out from compact fluorescents to the original LEDs, and now you had a tube or an MR16 LED, and now you have like actual nice decorative panels that you can put in, so you can have a nice look and LED, and then speed drives for efficiency and everything else. Yeah, I'd say those are the two main things I would point out.
Yeah.
And then I grew up in BC, so the big thing too is really seeing the change in weather patterns for us. Like, as a kid, we had basically one season of rain and scattered sun here and there, but we're getting full seasons now. We're getting warm, dry summers, and we're getting a lot of snow. Like we didn't have much snow growing up, so you're starting to see that difference, and that changes things. Sure. How you design equipment, and how you're designing your spaces, and what equipment you're bringing in to service that space. So
interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that makes a very good point. Weather does really change things, and that very, very interesting. Could you walk us through what a typical day, or a week looks like as a regional operations manager at GWL? How do you manage the demands of multiple properties across different, cities and areas?
I think the key to any kind of management is to making sure you have a quality team. Even a fairly good sized portfolio is hard to manage if you're trying to do everything on your own. And that's why I firmly believe that, and going back to the guy who hired me originally at 1188, I think I kind of take a lot of what he was teaching me, which is, you're kind of training your staff to fill your shoes. You want them to be ready to take that next step. And so you need to have trust in them, and you need to be able to give them work and trust that it's going to get done and done properly. I think there needs to be some flexibility, and maybe it doesn't get done the exact way that you want it to be done, but you need to give them that leeway of doing it their way and figuring it out. And so really, when you're talking, any kind of size, it just becomes, more important to have a better team, stronger team, and delegate and utilize your team.
Yes. Yeah. Very, very good. So do you play a fairly large role in recruiting and hiring your team, or is that something that HR takes care of, or?
HR does a lot of, like, we'll kind of collect all the resumes, and they'll pre-screen the ones that we want them to pre-screen. Managers kind of receive those resumes. I do get kind of brought in and asked my opinions here and there. Not everyone. A lot of people like to. There are those people who can handle it themselves and prefer to. But again, in that team environment of trying to get, different eyes on a project or different eyes on a candidate, they're, I get involved in those times. But we do, we're in a position now with a lot of expertise and experience retiring. We're getting to that I've heard it called a talent war in years previous. So quality people are getting harder to find. So it is, I'm active in a sense of, when I'm out and talking to people, if I see a quality, or if I'm interested in, I'll definitely kind of, get my card, or, kind of keep them in the back of my mind. I am working with BOMA BC, with Damien and Zach, and we've got other people in the industry on the workforce development program. And again, that plays into, it's a really non-targeted industry when we talk about, trades, knowing things about building operations. So, and it's not just operators, it's property managers, property administrators. So typical week for me, there's a lot of being part of the regional is also, we're on the regional OH&S committees. I'm also the employer chair of the national committee.
Wow.
I'm on our EDI working team. So, speaking of the milestones kind of throughout, we just finished, well, I wouldn't say we finished, we're in our second cohort of a new mentorship program that I was on the working team for, and along with Madeline White and Aaron Duff in Toronto. We had a great, I feel like we had a great success in the implementation of it's called Mentorship 30, just an introduction to our senior leadership, to kind of break the ice and help anybody kind of, it's not just your business unit either. You can kind of go cross departments, and if you have an interest in development or asset management or leasing, finance. So we have a great representation of mentors from senior leadership. So just kind of, it's
cool.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
No kidding. You're a busy guy. Very good. Property managers often talk about balancing tenant needs with operational goals. What's your approach to achieving that balance that has to, as it evolves, over the years, and how do you make sure that operations is achieving the results that the tenants need, but also, being cost effective too?
I think the main thing is to operationally, you want to make sure that you have a good business case for what you're proposing. Typically, we want to save energy, save costs. That all gets passed down to the tenants. The balance is trying to make sure we're doing that without sacrificing tenant comfort, their use of the space. So it is a balance of making sure that when you're proposing a change to a building system or replace, if you're replacing equipment and you want to put new equipment in, it's not just a like for like all the time, but you don't want to break the bank and propose a $1 million system that is going to save just because it's the newest technology doesn't mean it's the best move forward. So
yes.
And then of course you don't want to sacrifice the tenant amenities. So again, it's sort of making sure lobbies and amenity spaces are getting done in balance with the back of house equipment.
Very good. And you kind of touched on this a little bit. You mentioned, if you see someone, you'll give them a card, or, you're looking, what qualities and skills do you believe are most important for someone looking to move into the operations world? Maybe in the management role or maybe in an entry-level role too. But what are those traits?
For operators, we typically start to look at that customer service and that you're the face of the company. When you're dealing with the tenants, we want the tenants to feel comfortable, when you're interacting with them. And that's not a skill that's really easily taught or learned. Whereas, a lot of the technical stuff we can train, we can teach. So it's the soft skills that customer service and sort of the ability to communicate well. That's what we're looking for.
That makes a lot of sense. And I feel like times have changed a lot. It used to be just, you got a skill set, that's it, go do it, go deal with it. But but I think people have realized that, the real estate industry, the commercial real estate industry is in the world of hospitality.
Yes.
It really should be classified in hospitality, and so those qualities, go such a long way. Just when that extra smile or the sense of urgency to make sure it gets done right away. Those things go so far that I think a lot of people don't connect because they just think it's just a technical skill. You just got to go be able to fix it. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and a big change that we're seeing now is with the advancement in technology. A lot of times you can make a change from your office, but you still need to make that FaceTime, go down, confirm that the changes have worked, confirm that the tenant is feeling better. And so if you're not doing that, then they might not even experience they might not feel it. I mean, a lot of it is psychological. So they may not even feel the changes because they haven't seen anybody.
Right.
Even though you do have a physical increase, I'll use temperature changes for the example, but until you have somebody coming down there and actually listening to the problem,
right.
And then like showing that there's a solution, then so.
Yeah. Well, great example. Very good example. And actually that leads me right to my next question. Technology has undoubtedly changed the landscape of operations and property management. What are some of the most impactful technologies that you've implemented in operations or, a GWL has implemented? And how have you seen improved efficiency and tenant satisfaction?
I think it's, we're utilizing so we use MRI Angus for our tenant services and preventive maintenance. I believe that we've used them for a very long time now. So we're really just scratching the surface of what they actually offer. And so, and then again, with the Calgary group and Alberta group, we're trying to streamline everything. So everything's consistent reporting wise. And so, being able to try and get everything as automated as possible, and then making sure when it's automated and online, then things kind of don't slip through the cracks as they might if you're relying on that human touch. And then as far as the preventive maintenance, you've got the ability to assign work orders to a vendor instead of waiting for a dispatch or an operator to call something in. You can assign it right from the software. So, but yeah, no, a lot of it on the operations side becomes efficiencies with the speed drives and the ever increasing or reducing wattage requirements for lighting and controls. And then, we've implemented a few things where, something as simple as a daily or pre-use ladder inspection from our OH&S committee. We implemented a QR code that goes to a form, MS Forms, and then you just sign off that you've completed your inspection, and then it gets sent into, or it's logged into the form bank. And so we don't have to worry about storing paper inspection lists. And so when we have our audits, our safety audits, it's easily found. So
how times have changed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there's many trees that are thanking us today. Yeah, that's awesome. You've earned a diverse set of certifications, as you've already touched on, from sustainable energy management at BCIT to your small SMT, SMA designation with BOMI Canada. How have these educational experiences shaped your approach to property operations, particularly in areas like energy efficiency and sustainability?
The CMAC program was eye-opening, in the sense that it just so many more perspectives than our own. And there's so much available out there. So to be able to understand and reach out to the experts on whatever particular system you might be looking at. The CMAC was actually nice because it wasn't all technical. There was change management. That was a good course. A lot of understanding of the, I guess, the human psychology of things, and some really good feedback on the human response of change, and and whether that was recycling programs, or we were the first company in Vancouver to go to daytime cleaning. My building at 1188 was the second building that we put through. At first, there was people weren't really into it. There was a lot of opposition to the program, and then to see them actually come on board once the program got running, it was actually interesting to see how so many very vocal opponents actually became proponents of it. And unfortunately, in that building, we ended up doing an elevator modernization, and there wasn't a proper freight for the janitorial staff, and so we had to kind of cancel it and just do the logistics with the elevators. So the original people who were really against it we're actually sad to see the program end. So
very interesting. If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind digging into that a little bit. As a janitorial, owner myself, I got lots of questions on it. So who did you find? Who pushed back? Was it the tenants? Was it the vendor? Was it the property managers? Or
no, it was the tenants. It was the. I mean, this is opinion. This isn't based on science. But the opinion that I have, or the theory that I came up with, was in the office space, people generally think that someone they don't think of who it is. They just think that they leave the office that one day, and then the next day they come in and everything's done. And they probably don't think too much of it.
Yes.
So with the daytime cleaning, now you've got that clean staff in there with people. It's unfortunate, but I think there might have been, I don't know what the word would be, a little bit of an elitist attitude, maybe, of, the specific comment that was made to me was, we can't have cleaners in here. We have people with PhDs and master's degrees. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm not sure what that has anything to do with this.
That's pretty harsh. That's pretty harsh. Yeah.
But as I said, that guy in particular was one of he turned around, and he actually loved the program, and was very disheartened to see it end. And again, because there's that psychology of, if something in my office was always getting missed, and it could just be something that's out of sight, out of mind, or maybe my garbage can is in a weird alcove under my desk. And if I'm constantly having to call to have it removed or cleaned, but now when the cleaner comes in, I can point it out.
Yeah. And
typically what was happening is the cleaner would now come in and deal with that specific issue almost every day. Right. And so that thing that bugged me for who knows how long is now being attended to all the time.
Sure.
And now I just have this feeling of I've been listened to. They're dealing with my issue, and I no longer have a problem.
Yeah. So, brilliant. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. What about the efficiencies wise? Like, you're obviously, you're working around people during the day versus at night. You have the free space. You can kind of go and hit all the areas without being concerned about getting in anyone's way or bothering anyone, or maybe making noise with the vacuum, or how does that work in a daytime cleaning?
So in daytime cleaning, they weren't typically vacuuming. They would have the carpet sweepers. The idea was if someone was busy or on the phone, they would just sort of wave them off and they wouldn't enter the office. And then you would have a Saturday shift, actually, which that would be your wall-to-wall cleaning. And that's when everything kind of got done. We actually had amazing feedback on the quality of the clean when people were coming back on the Mondays, saying it was the cleanest the building's been. You were able to kind of sell it on the quality of the product of daytime cleaning because it did work. It was just amazing. A matter of having to get over that initial.
Yeah. Makes sense. And that Saturday clean, now that makes a lot of sense. You need that one day where you can kind of catch everything, do a full top to bottom. That very interesting. Very good. Thanks for deep diving in with me on that one, because I'll probably have more questions offline as well, but that's awesome. So what would you say is the biggest operational challenge that property managers and operational managers like yourself are facing today, especially in the current market?
I think the main thing is making sure that tenants are renewing. You want to make sure that managers and operations staff want to make sure that we're delivering a quality product and quality service that doesn't make them question whether they renew their leases. Tenant retention is kind of what we have control of. And then, of course, if your departments are connected and working well as a team, then obviously when leasing's bringing in new tenants, you want to make sure that those vacant spaces are presentable. And when your departments are working hand in hand, then that's easy. And so again, it kind of boils down to that whole teamwork and working together and delegation, because typically the leasing department's a smaller crew and they can't be everywhere at once. So they need to be able to reach out and ask for help, and then we need to be able to deliver.
Amazing. I love that, because it's a competitive market with higher vacancies and there's options. So adding that value makes a lot of sense. Very good. With over 2 decades of experience, what are some of your personal and professional goals moving forward? Are there specific areas within operations or property management that you'd like to explore further?
As an organization, we have some pretty lofty sustainability goals. We've created the Western Canadian Sustainability Committee. So that's co-chaired by myself and Jonathan Strom in Calgary, headed up by Senior Director Jesse Bueller and Senior Director Jillian Mann sits on it in BC. And then we have committee members kind of throughout Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC. So the idea, I guess, is I would love to see us attain that goal. And as a group, I think there's challenges in the different markets for sure. When it comes to sustainability and energy efficiency, there's a lot of programs and the utilities are favorable for us. So, a success in BC, as great as it is obviously for BC, the success as a group would be fantastic to see. So to kind of continue to work together and see that, I think that's the main thing right now.
Yeah, I just, as you know, I just recently did a panel with BOMA Calgary, moderated, and it was all about sustainability. Jonathan was on there from GWL, and he's a wealth of knowledge. Holy cow. Just such a smart, brilliant mind, and passionate, really cares about what he was talking about. And it seems that sustainability is becoming less of a kind kind of pain in the butt, like you got to do it because, but more of a, hey, there's actual value here, like in not just environmentally, but economically too. Is, you know, there's a lot of opportunity here to just better the world of commercial real estate in many different aspects through sustainability.
Yeah, you're going to see. I'm not sure about the Alberta market, but I know in Vancouver we're going to start seeing carbon penalties. So it's not just the carbon neutral and not attaining your goal. There's going to be a financial impact to not reducing your carbon footprint. So, and then I think the challenges there are because of how clean our grid is. There's this huge push for electrification. But then we kind of fall into that dilemma that we spoke about earlier of, you know, with the changes in the weather, we're, you know, I've gotten in trouble for saying extreme cold. We don't have extreme cold in BC, but we do have conditions that are outside the normal design temperatures for certain equipment. So to fully electrify, I personally don't believe that that's the way. I think you need to have some kind of redundancy and some kind of backup. But yeah, no, that's kind of I've always kind of had and that's what led me to the CMAC program. Is this idea to kind of make the buildings as efficient as possible, especially when there's not 1188 was a B class building based on numerous factors, location. It was built in an era where they were pushing for carpooling and transit. So there was very, very little parking available. So yeah, just a number of factors that would never make it an A-class building. So, you know, we always maintained that we ran it as an A-class. But the idea was, okay, if it can't be an A-class, then we're going to make it the most efficient building as we can, and being based out of there was the focus for me, and then obviously now change that focus to the region. So very good. Again, back to the janitorial question. I always have this question for everyone, but you know, as likely, you know, one of your largest ongoing costs, you know, in your properties, how do you look for janitorial companies to work with, and what qualities in the company are you looking for? With the janitorial companies, I believe there's so many options. So I think first and foremost, you have to understand what you're bidding out. So you're making sure that the companies that you're inviting to a tender are able to perform and handle the amount of business, whether it's a single building or a whole portfolio. So you're just looking for that ability to be able to handle the work that you're price or you're tendering out. Qualities, I've always said something that I teach my operators, or maybe not teach them, but at least tell them. Security teams are an extension of your left hand, and janitorial teams are an extension of your right hand. And it's a team atmosphere. It's a team. I think there's a theme coming out here. It's a lot of team, and nobody's perfect. And you need to be able to work with the groups that you're in there. So it's not necessarily about assigning blame. It's about working through and finding solutions. So you want to find someone who is accountable and is easy to work with. And is sort of has the same goal. They're not just in it to make money because janitorial contracts are lucrative.
Right. Yeah. Not really. I really like that answer. You're right that it's so critical. Like our favorite clients are those that do see us as a team partner. You know, in it, like we're partners. You know, we're not working. It's not us against them. It's working together. We're all on the same page to get the same results. And that's so critical. And I love the analogy. I've never heard that before. Security or your left hand, janitorial is your right. And that's That's very true. So no, that very insightful. Thank you for that. Awesome. And now for a few fun questions. If you can manage any famous property in the world, what property would that be and why? Or operate, sorry. I always forget that we're talking operations here, but
I've just seen some photos or cutaway drawing of the Sydney Opera House where it shows. Now, I don't know if it's actually real or not. I haven't done any kind of deep dives to really understand if it is real or not, or how deep it goes underneath the Opera House. So it'd be interesting to see and understand that building. I've only seen it from the outside. We went there in 2012. That one only comes to mind because I've recently saw that and I've questioned it, but not questioned enough to actually look into it. So
okay, interesting. I didn't know that it ran deep. I also saw it in 2001. I saw it, but I didn't realize it goes quite deep. Does it?
Again, it's a picture that I saw on social media. So who knows?
Yeah, well, we'll have to do a deep dive on how deep it goes. So I'm gonna have to check that out. So very cool, great choice. I love that one. And then finally, if you could recommend any book to your fellow operators or property managers, what book would that be and why?
I haven't read it yet. I've just picked it up because it's Thank You Coach by Angus Reid, who's an ex BC Lion. I've been coaching. I'm not coaching now, but I've coached both my kids in sport, low level, and the football. I'm not a football guy at all. But the football community that welcomed my son and I, just absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Dave Pohl and Owen Yates of the GSL, absolutely fantastic people and welcoming and willing to put their time in to teach volunteers.
Wow.
And I just, again, kind of that theme of teamwork. It's about coaching. It's about getting the best out of your team. And again, it's, your operators are your team. You need to be able to trust that you need to train them and have them practice and do the work so that you're comfortable delegating that work to them in order to be successful.
Yeah.
Again, for 10 years, I worked with a guy named Julian Paez. He was my right-hand man. And I know I've said it a few times over the past couple months, if not the last year. I think I owe a lot of my success to him because I was able to go on my growth journey knowing that I had somebody stable and of quality to trust while I pursued other things outside of the building. So, that ability to coach your up and comers and then to, of course, deal with, it's not always sunshine and lollipops. You got some difficult times and difficult conversations. So again, being able to kind of to deliver those hard truths once in a while and turn them into learning lessons instead of something that people stew on.
Sports are so valuable for lessons. You just can't replace the value of sports in real life. There's just so many lessons they get learned from wins to rejection, to loss to teamwork and to discipline and working within boundaries and all of that. And am I right that I'm making an assumption here? But am I right that you're a hockey player? Is that right?
That could be an assumption. I play hockey. A bit of a bum on a beer league team.
Okay, awesome. I believe your LinkedIn profile picture is hockey.
I did. I did work, or I was on a team. It was Paladin Security. We had a team put together, and I did. I was honorary captain. I had raised the most. So in that tournament, it was a Canuck alumni tournament, face off against cancer. and
Wow.
the amount of money you raised determined your draft order. So
Cool.
we were able to draft Dave Babbage, and we were able to take home the championship, and as honorary captain, because I raised the most, I was handed the trophy by Captain Kirk McLean. So it was
amazing. Oh, that's cool.
Now, it was a while ago, though. I've been told that picture's pretty old, but I feel like I haven't really changed that much. A little bit longer hair, but
yeah. Oh, I look just like you. Yeah, just missing the glasses. That's all.
Yeah.
Or maybe I had glasses. I can't remember. But that's awesome. Yeah, that were really good. That good for you. What a great story. That I can understand why you'd post that picture, because that's super special what you guys did. So. Very cool. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. I really found it valuable. We met at Bomex in Vancouver earlier this year, and right away I just felt like you're a guy that I really wanted on the podcast. So I'm glad we got you on, and I'm excited to see 20 more years at GWL at least, and
we'll be net zero.
Yeah, exactly. Good goal. Right on. I love that. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ryan, and look forward to watching you and keeping in touch.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks.